Okay, this is a little intro video about the 4MS Meta, which can load VCV rack patches. And you can see my VCV rack patch here that I have now loaded into 4MS. I hit load patch, there is my patch, and I can see it and hear it there. And it's based on a patch I downloaded from the forums from the MetaModule website, and there are some knob sets, and you can have various assignments of those knobs and switch between them. And now I say use, and these are my own settings, and I'm now changing the frequency and the volume of one of the oscillators. I show something different. I say new patch, and I start with a module from 4MS called Ensemble Oscillator, and now it's loaded. And sorry, it wasn't loaded yet, now it's loaded. And now I enter the module. I move through this menu where I have the activity for the patch, and then the knob sets, and then the option to add more modules, then the options to save, and then some setting options, and then finally the module is selected. I hit enter, and there is a screen with more settings, and here I can say auto map all. That means the knobs and the jacks of the module will be auto mapped to knobs and jacks of the hardware. And that means now I'm listening to this module and can adjust the parameters, and also the output jacks are assigned to my output jacks of the module, so it's working. And if I turn it off, and let's just assume I have not yet done anything with the module, and go to load patch, it's just loading some plugins which I installed. Go to load patch, and there are some internal patches like quad drum or a polyphonic via MIDI. And if I load this, I get a patch, and then hit start so I can play it. And here I can see the modules of the patch. And yeah, then it's necessary to learn what's going on, which is not that easy because there are some new modules like drums which are not yet very well documented, but of course it's possible to figure it out. And there will of course also be more modules, and there are also a lot of modules that are already in VCV rack, such as the modules of the sound which is in my hardware. And as said, this is a patch from a forum. Here there's a forum called MetaModule Info, and in this forum it's all about the MetaModule, and you can see a forum with a patch gallery. That's where I got it from. And there you find more explanations, also here under downloads. And so, for example, with this patch, there is a VCV rack version, which is here. And the idea of the patch was to create drone sounds with various oscillators, and they are all pitched. and the pitching is chromatically, and I just wanted to add oscillators that allow free change of the frequency. Well, it's not yet really the best patch, but I just wanted to try out how things work out. I mean, the patch idea in general is great, but what I did is not that big of a deal, but I want to show how things work. So I made some connections in VCV Rec, which I'm not explaining now, but I also made connections in the MetaModule, and here you can see there are various knob sets, and in the third knob set I made the assignments. So for example, here I can see it's assigned to the VCO frequency, and I can also adjust the range. And if I hadn't assigned it yet, I would just hit the knob and then turn it here. So now it's assigned, and if I turn this knob, I'm also moving the frequency knob. Also, the output of the patch goes to the audio interface and to the output jack of the MetaModule as well. So when I load it in the MetaModule, the audio interface module won't be there anymore, and this means that the sound will come out here. And if I want to save it, I can save it in VCV Rec as a normal VCV Rec patch, and then also here in the MetaModule. And if I save it in the MetaModule, that means I'm saving it in a different format, and that different format has the ending YML. And in this format, the MetaModule can load the patch, but the VCV Rec software in the computer won't be able to open this. So basically I can make all kind of patches here in VCV Rec and load them into the module. And it's getting even more interesting because I can add expanders to the module, and I also have, for example, this Intech expander. And if I go to load patch and if I just make a new patch and load again the ensemble oscillator and now do the auto mapping again, and now try to assign a MIDI knob. So I can, for example, just hit this root knob and I see the assignments, and I hit MIDI and I turn a knob here, then move to OK, hit yes, and then I can also use this module to change things that are going on here. And imagine if I use these knobs plus these knobs, and then maybe also some other knobs from the Intech controllers, which I can just add here and find a right way to place it. Well, I can really do a lot with this module. I can make very complex patches and then control them with knobs. It's not made for consumers that just want to play at the moment. Of course, there will be a lot of more patches, but right now it's more about building your own patches and then loading them into the module in order to get the full power of the module. What's necessary to know is there's this back button here, and also if I go to the settings, there is a plug-in option, and there are also internal plugins. So if I say new patch, then I can see modules from Valet, from 4MS. Fundamental means these are the modules from VCV. Chow DSP are tape effects. And then if I go to the plugins, there are more modules from Bogue Audio, Air Windows, and I can add them on a USB stick or on a card and make settings that they auto-load every time that I power on the module. And I've done this now for the micro SD card, so they are getting loaded each time I turn on the module. But of course, if I carry on this case, there's a danger that this card falls out, so that's one little thing to take care of. Yeah, that's about the basics for this intro. I hope this gets you an idea of what can be done with a 4MS MetaModule. It's a true innovation because the idea of VCV Rack was to bring the Eurorack experience into the computer for everyone, and now we can take it back to the Eurorack and this way have one module with lots of possibilities, which allows to make the whole thing a little bit cheaper and more accessible for everyone, I guess.